Today we are reviewing the new Isamaya eyeshadow palette. So this is a new beauty brand recently released from Isamaya French. She is a makeup artist for a lot of really renowned beauty brands and high-end luxury brands like Byredo for one, and I feel like you can see the Byredo influence even just in this eyeshadow palette. She's finally released her Capsule 1 collection, I believe is what she's calling them, and I couldn't afford to pick up the whole collection, okay? I had to pick and choose. It is a luxury beauty brand, so I decided to pick up the eyeshadow palette and put it to the test. So if that sounds interesting to you, then keep on watching. Before we get stuck into the video, let's go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it. Pretty much no one asked for this review. I will be honest with you guys. I did put a poll up on Instagram and also my YouTube channel and said, do you guys want to see me review this brand? And most of you said no, but this is one of those reviews that's really just for me, because honestly, the more and more I looked at this eyeshadow palette, I just honestly got to a point where I could not resist. There is something about this color story that I was just like, I really want to get my little mitts on it and get my grubby little fingers in those eyeshadows and just see what these formulas are all about. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the brand because it is a completely new brand to the market, and then what we are going to do is we're going to go to desk format and I'm going to swatch the shadows and kind of play around with the shadows a bit for you guys, and then we will do a look together using the palette as well. I will try my hardest to put timestamps on the video for you guys as well, just in case you're really interested in certain aspects of this video, and everything that I use on my face today will be linked down in the description box below for you as well, like normal. So let's get into it. Isamaya is a makeup artist and she's worked on a lot of luxury makeup brands, Byredo for one of them, Burberry. I believe there was Tom Ford in there as well, but there's a lot. And her Instagram is really, you can tell just from looking at her personal Instagram, she's very artistic, very creative. She's absolutely stunning. I think she models some of the time as well. She's like seriously beautiful, and I can see just like from looking at her Instagram how she's gotten the inspiration for this collection. I only have the eyeshadow palette to test here with you guys today, like I've mentioned, but if you want to see the other products more in depth, Kaki Reviews Beauty did an in-depth review of this brand as well, so I'll link that video down below for you guys if you want to check that out. And also Isamaya herself did a full in-depth kind of explanation of each one of the products that she's released as well, so I'll link that video in the description box for you too, just in case you want to see anything more in depth. Now I'm going to show you guys the eyeshadow palette itself on the desk format because I just feel like that'll be a little bit more fun. So let's go ahead and go to our desk format and then we'll create a look. This is the palette's outer carton, so it has the branding, the name of the palette, the ingredients on the back, all of the normal jazz that you get on the outer carton packaging for an eyeshadow palette, very in theme with the collection. And then this is the eyeshadow palette itself. Now you may be able to see as I shift this in the light and as I kind of turn this sideways, but Isamaya actually got this packaging 3D printed, and it's kind of like a woman kind of, I guess, stretching out of like the latex on the palette, which is again very in theme with the marketing and branding of this palette. So it's pretty cool. Like it's definitely very, very unique and almost like, you know, that kind of artwork. And it has the shade names on the back with the expiry. So the expiry is 12 months and it was made in Italy, if you are wondering. The eyeshadow palette cost itself was 115 US dollars and I paid 164 Australian dollars off of Selfridges. I will say, when it comes to this packaging, while it is very cool and unique, and I do actually really like this front bit, like I really do, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to store that easily, that's a nightmare, and yes, you are correct, but it is still quite small and compact, so you will fit this like a lot easier than, say, for example, that ridiculous Pat McGrath Labs Blushing Delights circle thing that she did. That is hard to store. This will actually be not too hard to store. But my one complaint is that this, even though this is coming out of the front, it just doesn't feel very luxe. The actual packaging itself on this bit right here is just a very cheap plastic, and it feels cheap. Like, it genuinely feels like the cheapest possible plastic that you could purchase, and there is no heft to this. Now, while that is not an important feature in any way, shape or form, I guess when I'm spending $164 on an eyeshadow palette, I do kind of expect it to come feeling a little bit luxe, having that mothership weighted heavy feeling to the palette where you're like, that's what I've spent my money on. And I know a lot of you may not care at all about that, but for me, part of the reason why I buy luxury makeup is just that whole luxury experience and really feeling like the makeup is luxe. That's what I love about it personally. And so this kind of, even though this front bit here seems really cool and luxury, the rest of the palette itself literally feels like it could be a Wet n Wild palette. It just feels very, very cheap. So I probably would have preferred maybe not have this and the rest of the palette kind of not be this like really cheap, light, very ridiculously cheap feeling plastic. I would have rathered that more like hefty, good quality material like a mothership has, for example. Now again, that is very much a me thing in the way that I prefer my palettes to feel. But let's open up the palette itself and talk about that. So this is the eyeshadow palette. Let me zoom you guys in. And I do have to admit, this palette is an absolute beauty. For me, the color story of this palette was what completely drew me in. If you've been around here for a hot little minute, you just know that greens are absolutely my color, and there are so many greens in this palette. Also, I love these kind of purpley colors like this. That's just absolutely my vibe. And also the golds in here are the kind of golds that I personally would wear, and it just has this really kind of, the textures in here just really, really intrigued me. So much so that I just honestly couldn't resist purchasing this palette and giving it a go. I know that all of you are probably sick of hearing me talk right now, so let's go ahead and get stuck into swatching this palette, shall we? What I thought I would do is something a little bit different for my swatching this time. I'm going to swatch all of these shades like I normally do as a speed through up my arm, and then I'm actually going to come back and we're going to swatch each individual shadow, and I'm going to swatch it on my hand and blend it out a little bit and just talk about kind of what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and then we will create an eye look. So again, I will put timestamps here if you're just absolutely bored at this point and just want to see how they perform. We're now going to swatch on my hand and kind of blend these out a little bit. And I think the biggest thing that took me by surprise is really, I guess, the different textures in these formulas and just what they bring to the table. So I'm understanding that even though there are so many similar shades in here, the textures are so different and they bring something so different to the table that I'm really understanding why this is kind of the way that it is. Now this is just a black matte shade, but one thing, and I'm gonna try and get this as close to my camera. Can you see that? It feels sticky to touch, and can you see the imprint? It's very much a moussey. Yeah, it's like a mousse, like a cushiony mousse. It's really unique feeling. I've never ever felt a shadow like that in my entire life. Like, never ever. I wish you guys could feel it through the screen. It's like putty. That's how I would describe it. I don't even know, like clay putty. It's cool. I like it. And I think for those of you that really like to use black shadows as bases for your eyeshadow, like if you are a grungy makeup lover, or if you're someone that has hooded eyes and you want to put black eyeshadow all over the lid for a black smoky eye, or you want to use it for a very soft and subtle wing, this is a really cool formula because it's got that like kind of creamy formula. It's not gonna crease, like once it sets on the eyes, it's gonna set. It's quite unique. I've never felt, and I've literally, I promise you, never felt an eyeshadow like this in my entire life. Next up, we have this beautiful white duochrome, and it has like a violet almost, yeah, I would say purple violet. Can you see that? It's very much like a Pat McGrath Labs special shade, like those astral shades that she has in, ooh, what is the palette that this one is in? Like Sublime, for example, has that white shifty shade, and so does Subversive. It feels exactly like those and shifts really like those, but this has a lot more of a shift, or like that kind of neon purple undertone to it. See that? That's cool. This one right here is one of the more kind of chunky metallics, and there's definitely a couple of those. It reminds me slightly of the Melt Cosmetics formula. However, it is nowhere near as dense. So if you know me, you know I don't like that Melt Cosmetics formula, and I don't super love how chunky this feels, but in saying that, this is way better than that metallic from Melt Cosmetics. Like this is real, this is like cream buttery feeling, because it has that like kind of tacky creamy texture that the black has, but it's just a little bit flaky is what I would, actually it feels like a cream version of the Utopian Dream purple special shades. If you've seen Utopian Dream, or you've got it and you know that it's like that flaky purpley, flaky kind of glittery formula, that's what this feels like, but like cream-like. It's odd. It's very, very innovative for sure. It looks really similar to the Copper special shade out of Midnight Sun as well. So if you have Midnight Sun, you probably have a shade like this if you're drawn to this palette just specifically for this shade. Next up, we have this beautiful green, and this one is so unique and pretty. Really like an alien. I don't have a green that looks like this. Kind of like that alien shift, but this one's a little bit more subtle on the swatch and blended out than you would think. You could definitely do this as a one and done green. Like, look at that. Yeah, I don't have anything like this. Wow, that's cool. It has a very slight taupey undertone to it, so it really would blend out to be quite a good one and done. And it has that like alien green shift. I like that. I can't wait to bathe in that. I'm impressed so far. I would tell you guys if I didn't like it, honestly, because you'd hear me be really mad that I spent that much money on a palette that was crap. I would love the packaging to be more luxe feeling, I will admit that. This one's like a bronzy, goldy, grungy, olivey green, I guess. A little bit like Gigabyte from Subversive, but not as gold, like a lot more muted olivey toned than Gigabyte, and has a soft black base to it. That's cool. This next shade is the most chunky formula in the palette. It's definitely got like some fallout to it, so I would, you know, it feels kind of odd to even pick it up. I don't know how you would kind of pick it up without getting a lot of fallout, if I'm honest, but it also has that like creamy putty type feeling. It's such an interesting formula. I've honestly never felt anything like it. And this is a cool shade. It's like that really soft, cool tony periwinkle silvery purple. I don't know. There's a lot of words to describe it. It's like a silver, but it's also a purple. And I love this shade. This is really cool. Now we have this beautiful bronze, and you won't be able to see it in the pan now because I've kind of swatched it a bit, and you might not even be able to see it on camera. But in real life, it has slight little gold green flecks through it. So it's not a straight up bronze. It is like a bronze with very soft green flecks. And let's see. And then, oh, it has like a kind of burgundy, like a real chocolatey brown, verging on burgundy undertone to it. That's cool. Oh, that's really cool. really pretty. So now we're coming back down here and we're going to swatch this Cool Tone Gold. And one of the things that I liked about Isamaya was she spoke about in her video where she was describing the collection that she wanted a gold, but she definitely didn't want a cool tone gold. She really, she didn't want a warm tone gold. She really just wanted a cool tone kind of metally gold. And I appreciated that because I do much prefer a cool tone gold. That reminds me a little bit of the gold out of Midnight Sun as well, but just a little bit deeper and more olivey. So next up we have this one. This one was quite sheer. This is perfect as like a topper shade or a very subtle one and done. It's very, very pretty, but just it's a lot more subtle and it has that soft taupey neutral undertone to it. And you can even barely see it's there. Very good for a one and done as well. Or even just a bronzer through the crease or a neutral shade, very pretty. Let's move on to this one right here. And this one right here reminds me of Astral Solstice. Like I feel like this is just Astral Solstice. I feel like they made it in the same lab, honestly. Astral Solstice is the special shade from Divine Rose 1 and Midnight Sun, by the way. But see that? I just feel like it's Astral Solstice. Now let's move on to this gorgeous dark shade right here. I love, actually no, I'm gonna swatch this one last and this one last. I'm gonna do these two first because these, they like stained my arms. I don't know if you can see, so I don't wanna like stain my hand already. So let's move on to this one. And this one is like a champagne. It's like, see how this one has that purple violet shift? This one is quite similar, but with a green alien type shift, and it's really cool. So I don't know if you can see that. It reminds me of the green shade from LH Cosmetics Enchanted Garden or Enchanted Secrets palette, sorry. It's really pretty. Again, really, and also reminds me of a subtle version of VR Fire Opal. You really, I feel like I need to get up close because you just need to be able to see the shift. That's really, that would be good as a one and done too. Just a very soft, subtle look. Then let's do this green. I love this green. This green and this purple drew me into this palette for sure. Oh, that's such a cool green. I don't have a green like this either and I just adore it. Look at it. That is so nice. Yes, I will get a lot of wear out of that. Let's do these two last ones here. I love this one right here. It reminds me of a pan version of the Mink Single Shadow from Victoria Beckham. And it's really, it's nice. It's like a black metallic, the slight deep purple shift. That's just beautiful, isn't it? And then lastly, we have this other black matte, which is that same cream putty formula as the original one. But this one has a blue pearl to it. So I'm not sure if it'll pick up on camera, but in certain lights, this is like a proper navy blue. And has like, it's like a satin black. But you guys, I don't think a camera will pick it up, but in real life, when I shift my hand, it shifts to a navy blue. So that is the entire palette swatched for you guys and individually swatched for you guys. I'm very interested to kind of play with these and put them on the eyes. So let's go ahead and create an eye look now, shall we? All right, let's put this palette to the test. I wanna try as many of these shades as I can, and as you know, I never really put a metallic through the crease, but we'll give it a go. I'm gonna start with this shade and I'll see what this one looks like through the crease. This is just a Delium. Oh, I haven't even primed my lids. What am I doing? It's just getting too keen. I'm taking my Rare Beauty eye primer. And now let's go into that shade with my Delium Tools 785 and let's just play and see how we go, okay? So I'm buffing this shade through the crease. And it's buffing really nicely. It really is like that satin shade. It does have a very slight kind of gold fleck to it, but really it's just buffing out to be a matte, which is cool. And it is blending very beautifully.
Hello?
Well, that's blended out pretty cool. Next up, I'm gonna take my Delium Tools 783 and I'm gonna dip into this shade and let's see how this blends out. Again, that blends out really well for a metallic, so there you go. This is very outside my comfort zone for those of you that might be new here. For those of you that are not new here are laughing your heads off because this is so far outside my comfort zone. Using metallics through the crease. But they're working lovely. These are working really good through the crease. Really, really good. I'm genuinely surprised because this is not something I would ever do. I'm gonna take some of this green shade next, right here, just on a Dior flat brush, and I will press that into this outer corner here. Not all the way out to the outer corner, but close to. That one amazing. Look at that olive shade. Okay. Oh, I love that shade. That shade's amazing. Taking the same brush, what will we go into now? I'm gonna dip into this chunky purple shade and see how this goes, hey? Because it just is really unique. And popping it next to that green. Oh, that looks cool. Now I'm struggling because I really want to use this green, this green, and this green. All of the greens. But I think I might just use this one first. Let's see how this goes on this inner portion here. My God, this green is the coolest. Look at that green. Oh my God, I'm obsessed. Oh my Lord, I'm obsessed. Oh my God, that green is insane and I can't wait to put that just all over my lids and bathe in it. That's so cool. I'm taking this pencil brush now and now I'll go into, I'll go into this one. And I'm gonna pop that on this inner bit and like swoop it up. That is so cool. Oh my God, I love that. I love it. I might just take a little bit of this shadow as well. Pop that in there, why not? Oh my gosh, I'm having the best time. I'm gonna take this Refa number 13 now and I'm gonna dip into this black right here. Picks up surprisingly well on a brush. I wasn't sure just because I've never come across this texture before. And I will pack this onto the outer corner a bit here to deepen it. There's like no fallout of this black, which is cool because of the texture of it. I'm really being haphazard. I'm just honestly playing, which is kind of fun. That's so cool. I might just even take some of that gold shade here even just for giggles and pop that on my finger and tap that in this outer portion. Yeah, why not? Add a little something, something, hey? What I might do as well, just because we're here having a good old time, I'm gonna take an angle brush and dip into this metallic and I'll wet the angle brush and let's see if we can create a wing. Couldn't create a wing, but I did just smudge it across the top lash line and I think it looks really cool as well. So there you go. Honestly, it performed really well. Really, really well. Like, I think you can genuinely tell I had a really wonderful time and the shades are just super, super cool. So anyway, let's go ahead. I'm just gonna quickly go off camera and do my base makeup. Normally I speed it through, but I just feel like this video's already probably been a million years long. So I'm gonna go off camera and do my base makeup. We'll come back, we'll finish up lower lash line, all that jazz, final thoughts, and then the video will be over. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back and I've done a lot. So I've done my base makeup, I've done my lips, and I did my hair. I put my hair topper on. If you don't know, I suffer from hair loss, so I wear alternative hair. I have a video about it on my channel if you're wondering. Okay, so in the eyes, or on the eyes, not in them, I put the Charlotte Tilbury black eyeliner on the top waterline. I put the Greige Core Crayon on the bottom waterline. So that's all I've done to the eyes so far. I have put my Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude lip liner on, and the Givenchy Sheer Velvet in number 10 is my lip color. And then the rest of my base makeup will be down below. But it's just makeup products you've been seeing over and over again lately because it's all of the products that's in the makeup I want to use up video. It's on my channel. I'd say I'll link it down below, but we all know I'll forget. Let's do lower lash line, and what will I do? I mean, probably nothing crazy because I never do. Let me pick up a pencil brush and I'm just gonna dip into this one and run that underneath the lower lash line. It's gonna get a lot of fallout, so I might actually wet the brush. Oh, that's actually pretty good. I'm impressed. I'm just gonna do that for the lower lash line because honestly, I like it. This is a very wearable look for me. Now for the inner corner, let's go ahead and pop this shadow, shall we? I'm just gonna go put my Huda Legit lashes on and then we will wrap this video up with my final thoughts. So 2 seconds. This is the finished makeup look using the Isamaya palette. What do you guys think? What do you think? I mean, this is a little bit of a different look. This is it up close. I like it. I really like it. One, this is a little bit different. It definitely pushed me outside my comfort zone, but I had so much fun playing with this and I just love how like grungy and textured it looks, but at the same time, truly I would walk outside and wear this like on the everyday. I honestly would even wear this to work. I really would. I feel like it's still super wearable while still being a little bit grungy and I am seriously loving it. I really like this palette. So I really do. My pros for this palette is that the eyeshadows are really, really good quality. Honestly, Pat McGrath Labs level quality. I personally feel like there's some textures in here that I've never come across before. Everything was beautifully pigmented, but not insanely pigmented that I feel like this palette may look intimidating, but actually I feel like even a beginner person to eyeshadow or a very everyday eyeshadow or everyday makeup wearer that's not, you know, into doing all of the cut creases and the halo eyes and just really wants simple fuss-free makeup, I actually think you guys would really like this palette, especially if you're into the kind of color story, because the shadows themselves aren't like so crazy pigmented that you actually need to really be that concerned with like what you're doing. You can really just kind of like you could put all of these shadows on with your fingers even and just like kind of smudge them across the eye and then actually look really good. So while this color story may look intimidating, the actual formulas themselves are really everyday person friendly. They really, really are. I can see myself using this palette again like I've done it today because I genuinely am so surprised at how much I love this look right now. But also I will use this in conjunction with a lot of my other palettes. These greens in here, you know I'm a green gal. So all of these greens in here just absolutely like fed my soul. And just like this black right here, all of these shades, apart from I think the only 2 shades, this one and this one, are probably the ones I will get the absolute least out of this whole palette. But the rest of them are absolutely like my vibes and I'll get a lot of use out of it. I'm so excited to see what she's going to release next because she's intrigued me. Honestly, she's intrigued me. It's exciting to see something new coming out and I'm into it. Is the palette worth 164 Australian dollars or 115 US dollars? I don't know, my friends. Only you can decide that for yourselves. Everyone's value of a dollar is very different and I'm never going to tell you to spend that much money. I'm just here to tell you my personal opinion. Keep that in mind. This is all my personal opinion. Watch other people's reviews to get an idea of whether or not you should spend your coins. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think. As always, if you're watching till this point, you're an absolute legend. I appreciate you so, so much. If you haven't already, pretty please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I hope that you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world and I will see you next time. Bye.